Good evening and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here as we honor some amazing people who make a difference in our community with the work they do to effect change that supports the mission of the National Council of Jewish Women. I'm Gina Cannon, and
And I'm Rosalie Stein, and we are the co-chairs of this year's Celebrating Women. We hope that you have enjoyed the food and got a chance to speak with everyone and a little fun, so we've all had a little fun so far. Congratulations to all our tonight's honorees. Now let's welcome NCJW STL's Vice President of Membership, Amy Gallant, who will start us off as we move into our ward presentations. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Amy Gallant, Vice President of Membership for NCJW St. Louis. I'm so happy to have you here, and thank you to our wonderful co-chairs for this evening. I am so excited for this year's Celebrating Women. We not only give our Hannah G. Solomon Founders Award to our past president, Susan Katzman, but we also recognize NCJW St. Louis members who have shown passion, dedication, and exemplary service to the organization, the community, and a deep commitment to achieving our mission. Tonight's celebration is the tip of the iceberg of all the exciting things happening at NCJW St. Louis. It is now my privilege to introduce Phyllis Langsdorf, NCJW St. Louis President, to share a little bit about what's happening at NCJW.
as she said, it's my pleasure to tell you about some of the wonderful programs that NCJW STL provides and update you on the amazing changes that have taken place since we met last year. Our Back to School store outfits over 2,100 students every year with brand new coats, shoes, hats, gloves, underwear, and all of the school supplies that they need to start their first day. In addition, we have a community closet in 34 schools where students can go and get clothes and other supplies anytime they need them. Our Wife, Widow, Woman program allows individuals who have lost a partner to move through grief in a supportive space, and we have launched, in addition, a Wife, Widow, Woman alumni and outreach program. In addition, we advocate in Jefferson City for those causes that affect women, children, and families in Missouri. Look in your email for our weekly 5 ways to advocate. You can learn how to volunteer and be a part of our mission. Our fall fundraiser, NCJW Believes, will celebrate the launch of our new Court Watch program. This program trains volunteers to observe and collect data from order of protection court cases to ensure that victims of domestic violence are protected by the legal system. So please join us at our fundraiser on October 15th at the Reverie. Much of this growth can be attributed to our biggest change, the move next door to 311 North Lindbergh. After the purchase of the Joseph Bank building, we quickly began a total renovation of the lower level, transforming it into a wonderful space for offices and meetings to take NCJW STL into the future. We've expanded conferences, boardrooms, as well as a large community outreach space that will allow us to host many of our own events in the future. Most importantly, our home gives us the space and resources to reach more women, children, and families and increase our impact in the St. Louis community. This summer, we will begin the renovation of the upper level of the building, turning it into a bigger and better CJW resale shop. We are so grateful to our community for your unwavering support in getting us to this point. Our future is right next door capital campaign-wise. Please, we are in the home stretch. Consider helping us get across the final way. Any amount is appreciated. Be on the lookout for information about our grand opening this fall. It's now time to begin our section award presentations. The community partnership is presented to a volunteer who connects us with the community based on our shared values and our mission, and the work that they do to improve the lives of women, children, and families. I am honored to present the Community Partnership Award to Mitch Baden of Royal Bank of Missouri. The Community Partnership Award recognizes those whose support strengthens our ability to serve the community, and few partners embody that spirit more fully than Mitch Baden and Royal Banks of Missouri. Royal Banks of Missouri has long demonstrated a deep commitment to giving back and investing in the communities it serves across St. Louis, St. Charles, Northeast Missouri, Granite City, and Jerseyville. Under Mitch's leadership, the bank has built a reputation not only as a trusted financial institution, but also a dedicated community partner. Mitch and the entire Royal Banks team surely and truly exemplify the Jewish tradition of Tikka Olam, repairing the world, through their generous support of many organizations throughout Missouri and Illinois. Their partnership with NCJWSTL has been especially meaningful. They sponsor our annual Family Resource Guide, enabling us to distribute more than 7,500 copies, making them available even in Royal Bank's branches. They hold the mortgages, I'm sure you all are happy to hear that, of our old building at 295 North Lindbergh and our new home at 311 North Lindbergh, helping make it possible for us to expand our programs and deepen our impact across the St. Louis region. Through leadership, partnership, and a shared commitment to strengthen our community, Mitch Baden and Royal Banks of Missouri have made a lasting difference. In fact, our past president, Nancy Litz, shared that Mitch and Royal Banks' entire network have been consistent supporters of NCJWSTL in big ways and small ones. I love walking into my local Olivet branch and seeing a stack of resource guides prominently displayed to showcase our work while providing that valuable information for their customers. Congratulations, Mitch.
Thank you. I appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Our next award is the Leadership Award.
This one makes me especially happy. So the Leadership Award, it is my privilege to present the Leadership Award to Sue Lapp. The award honors a member who has demonstrated a long-term commitment and service to the section in a variety of ways. Sue Lapp is the kind of leader who brings energy, warmth, and enthusiasm to everything she does. Currently serving her second full term on the NCJW St. Louis Board of Directors, Sue previously held the role of Vice President of Leadership and has been deeply involved in numerous committees over the years. Her dedication to NCJW's mission is evident in many ways she gives her time and talent, from chairing the always popular trivia night to volunteering at Back to School Store. Sue is also one of the NCJW's most enthusiastic ambassadors, proudly sharing the organization's impact wherever she goes. Her positivity is contagious. She truly lights up every room she enters. Through her commitment, generosity, and inspiring leadership, Sue exemplifies what it means to lead with both heart and purpose. Sue's friend Nancy Weigley said of her, Sue's leadership extends beyond her impactful work at NCJW. Sue has the unique ability to be the Pied Piper for her family, friends, and colleagues too. Everyone wants to be in Sue's positive, warm, and loving aura I don't know anyone else that does not love her. NCJW is fortunate to have her as a leader, and I am lucky to have Sue Lapp as a dear friend. Tonight, we are proud to honor Sue Lapp as the recipient of the Leadership Award. I know you're wondering, they do keep the awards. This way it's just, it's safe. Once they leave the building, then it's up to them. So the next award is for Volunteer Service Award. This award honors outstanding volunteers who have generously and consistently given their time and talents to NCJW. Barbara Barnholtz is our honoree for volunteer service. Barbara is someone who quietly and consistently steps forward whenever help is needed. Her dedication to NCJW is reflected in the meaningful roles she has taken on, including chairing the sponsorship committee for NCJW, believes, and serving as a member of the Capital Campaign Committee. Fundraising is not always the easiest work. I do know that. Asking others to give requires courage, persistence, and deep belief in the mission. Barbara embodies all of those qualities. She understands how essential philanthropy is to sustaining NCJW's programs and services, and she approaches the work with determination, thoughtfulness, and unwavering commitment. Barbara is often the first to raise her hand to help. She follows through on every promise and consistently steps up when she is needed most. Through her generosity of time, effort, and spirit, Barbara helps ensure that NCJW can continue making a difference in the lives of women, children, and families in our community. Elizabeth Welsh, Director of Development, shared that Barb is one of the most dedicated and passionate volunteers I have ever worked with. She brings so much knowledge, positivity, and joy to every project she is involved with. Barb is an inspiration to me and so many others in the community, and I'm just grateful I have the opportunity to work with her and call her my friend. Barbara, will you please come up to the bema?
The Fritzie Lainoff Award recognizes members who have demonstrated a strong commitment to advocacy and raising awareness of NCJW issues locally, statewide, and nationally. Randy Schmidtiel is the perfect candidate for the Fritzie Lainoff Advocacy Award. She brings both passion and purpose to her work with NCJW STL. As a member of the Board of Directors, she contributes her time, insight, and leadership in many ways, including serving on the Bylaws Committee and chairing Courts Matter. Through this important advocacy work, Randy helps ensure that the principles of fairness,
justice, and access remain at the forefront of our mission. Drawing on her legal expertise, Randy thoughtfully guides conversations and actions that strengthens NCJW St. Louis' voice in the community. Her dedication reflects the very spirit of the award she is receiving, one that honors the legacy of Fritzi Lainoff and her unwavering commitment to justice and equal access for all. Randy's connection to NCJW St. Louis also reflects a beautiful legacy of involvement. She is a legacy member whose mother, Sandy Brickman, is also a lifetime member, continuing a family tradition of commitment to service and advocacy. Jen Bernstein, Director of Advocacy, notes that Randy is a consistent and visible presence in Jeff City, regularly participating in lobby days and meeting with legislators. She brings a persuasive, polished, and highly professional approach to every conversation. At NCJW's Washington Institute, she fully engaged in every learning and advocacy opportunity, demonstrating both commitment and curiosity. She has also been an active participant in our annual legislative reception, where she has built strong relationships with legislators across the aisle. It is my pleasure to present the Fritzi Lainoff Advocacy Award to Randy. The Emerging Leader is an award that is sanctioned by the National NCJW organization. This award identifies and nurtures future section leadership. The criteria are that the recipient has potential for assuming future section leadership, understands and supports the NCJW purpose and programs, demonstrates commitment to the section, currently serves on the section board, has served for less than 5 years, or is currently chairing a committee, or is serving as an officer. I am excited to present Lisa Oxenhandler with this year's Emerging Leader Award. Lisa Oxenhandler represents the next generation of passionate leadership within NCJW St. Louis. After participating in our leadership class, Lisa quickly became deeply engaged in the organization's work and now serves as chair of the Empower Her series, helping create meaningful opportunities for women to connect, learn, and become involved. Lisa is both an emerging advocate and a grassroots leader. She has a natural ability to bring people together, inspiring others who share her values to support the mission of NCJW St. Louis. Whether organizing programs or even opening her home to host gatherings that introduce new people to our work, Lisa leads with enthusiasm, generosity, and a genuine commitment to community. Resale shop employee and NCJW St. Louis volunteer Mary Kuthais shared the following about Lisa. A chance meeting with Lisa over 2 decades ago started with an instant connection and became a lasting friendship. Lisa has extraordinary ability to gather friends, acquaintances, strangers, to build inclusive groups who make important things happen. She leads with warmth, humor, kindness, and commitment. She gently inspires others to share their gifts and genuinely shows appreciation for them doing so. Lisa doesn't seek the spotlight, but rather creates environments where others can shine. What a joy to see her recognized as NCJW St. Louis Emerging Leader. Lisa is unable to be here in person, but asked us to let everyone know how honored she is to have been selected for this award. Hi, Lisa. She's watching tonight.
The Community Impact Award goes to a volunteer who has demonstrated the spirit of NCJW on a specific project with innovation and dedication. I am honored to present this Community Impact Award this evening to Peggy Cohn-Voss. Peggy Cohn-Voss embodies the spirit of community impact through both her leadership and her dedication to meaningful service. As a member of the NCJW STL Board of Directors and a participant on the Bylaws Committee, Peggy contributes her thoughtful perspective and commitment to strengthening the organization from within. Peggy is deeply engaged in the life of NCJW STL, participating in many of our programs and initiatives. Perhaps most notably as a co-facilitator of the Wife, Widow, Woman program, as well as co-chairing the upcoming 50th Wife, Widow, Woman anniversary celebration. With both passion and professionalism, she is ensuring that it remains a supportive, thoughtfully run space for the women it serves. Her leadership reflects not only care for the program, but also a deep respect for doing the work well and with intention. Peggy gives generously of her time and treasure, helping ensure that this important program is not only sustained, but is able to grow and reach even more women in our community. Through her dedication, insight, and generosity, Peggy truly exemplifies what it means to make a lasting impact. Patty Krogan works closely with Peggy on the Wife, Widow, Woman program and shares, "It is a wonderful experience to work alongside Peggy. She is able to integrate her extensive professional skills with her numerous volunteer roles. She is creative, focused, organized, and innovative, and she always finds ways to improve whatever she touches. Most recently, she has driven the process to create ongoing programming for widows in our community, programs that will extend the reach and depth of our Wife, Widow, Woman program. The Community Impact Award is presented to a volunteer who has the spirit of innovation and dedication, and Peggy certainly exemplifies that. Congratulations, Peggy. I am now happy to introduce our next presenter, Ellen Alper, CEO of NCJW STL, for our Hannah G. Solomon Founders Award.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. It is my honor and pleasure to be able to stand up here and tell you a little bit about Susan Katzman, a little bit that's not in the program. So where do I begin to tell the story? I met Susan in 1984, okay, so 40 some odd years ago. You wouldn't think we were that old, but it's okay. When she was with the St. Louis Public Schools and I was a lobbyist for the St. Louis Association of Realtors. She reached out to ask me to table at a career fair for her students at the convention center. And, wait a minute, I still have the certificate of participation in its little black plastic frame that she gave me all those years ago. I just want you to know, it's all right here. Our paths continued to cross throughout our professional and volunteer careers. Our paths crossed again over a Coro connection. Coro is a public affairs training program. They train future leaders in our community. I was an alum of the Fellows Program, and we met at a program where Susan was an alum of the Women in Leadership Program. She actually founded their alumni program and also served as a trainer and a judge for future classes. Because as you know, leadership training is one of Susan's passions. And then we kind of took some time apart. Our paths crossed again with NCJW. But before I talk about her body of work, I want to share a quote that I read in the newspaper not too long ago. Volunteering is the ultimate exercise in democracy. You vote yearly, but when you volunteer, you vote every day about the kind of community you want to live in. This is what Susan is all about. She volunteers to make a difference throughout our region so that the world as she sees it can be a better place for everyone. So let me tell you a little bit about how she lives her values. Her impact is nationwide. She served as president of the National Career Academy Coalition and worked with school districts all over the country to help them create career academies so that all students have a path forward. Locally, she helped establish the Clyde C. Miller Career Academy and was a founder of a magnet high school in St. Louis Public Schools, the Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience. I would say that is her second passion to NCJW. We'll put NCJW first. Susan is a role model for women everywhere. When we nominated Susan for Women of Achievement, and she was honored by them, this is what we said. Her impact on young women is remarkable. They seek her out for career advice, networking, and general life lessons. Her approach is warm, thoughtful, and insightful. She is someone you want on your side who makes things happen. Susan Katzman is a visionary. She sees a need, is an expert in analyzing the problem, gathering information, synthesizing it, planning the steps, recruiting a team, mentoring them, exemplifying charisma and role modeling, and bringing the solution to fruition in its implementation with success and accolades. I could ask for hands of all of you that have been impacted and recruited by Susan, but I think every one of you would raise your hand at some point or another. She is an innovator and a hard worker. She has carried her formidable skill set into her volunteer career, leaving an indelible impact on the local, state, and national community. So what has she really accomplished for this community? And there's a short list. Some of it is in the program. I'm not going to read it all. She created a leadership training program for NCJW. She founded the Women in Leadership Alumni Group. She trained Leadership St. Louis participants on diversity. She helped pilot NCJW's Kids Community Closets in the Wellston School District. She helped found Prosperity Connection to provide the underserved community with financial services and oversaw the establishment of Excel Centers and Red Doe Money Centers to provide access to loans, counseling, and training for thousands of St. Louis residents while also serving on the St. Louis Community Credit Union Board. As I said earlier, she served as president of the National Career Academy Coalition and still sits on their board. And because that wasn't enough, she did work full-time for a living too. She had a 36-year career as an educator with the St. Louis Public Schools, retiring as a divisional director for career and technical education. And there's more in her bio in the program, so please take a look. And now we come to her work today. What is she doing now? For NCJW St. Louis, Susan has served as a VP of Membership, a VP of Resale, a VP of Leadership, Treasurer, and President. She helped move our resale shop into its former location at Olive and McKnight, and because she continues to give of her time, Susan currently chairs our Hannah G. Solomon Society Committee. She volunteers to price jewelry in the resale shop. You'll find her on Saturday mornings doing that. She sits on the nominating committee, the committee planning the grand opening for the new space, and is co-chair of the capital campaign for our new building, leading us to raise over 80% of our $5.4 million goal, $4.6 million. And we're not done yet. We call her the NCJW STL Energizer Bunny for a reason. She does not stop. But even the best batteries need a boost every once in a while. Susan is carrying the weight of this $800,000 final amount, and she's doing it with a smile. And if I didn't talk to you about it, I wouldn't be doing my job as a CEO, so indulge me for a minute. So what I say to you is let us lighten her load. If you have ever been mentored by her, inspired by her, or nudged by her to do better, now is the time to show it. Susan would love it if one or more of you could step up, write a big check, and help her reach that goal of 5.4 million for our capital campaign. She'll be happy to chat with you after this event is over. It is a pleasure to collaborate with a leader who so clearly embodies the spirit of Hannah G. Solomon. Solomon's legacy of transforming social concern into structured, community-wide action is a high bar to meet, and it is inspiring to see those values, particularly the commitment to education and bridging diverse communities, alive and well today. It is my honor and privilege to introduce my friend and my colleague and my former boss, and I'm not sure what else, Susan Katzman, to you today and present her with this Hannah G. Solomon Award. Susan, will you please join me at the podium?
And Kathy, we thought nobody kept their certificates.
It's been my house a long time.
It's a heavy award. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry to tell this to you, but you know how when the seniors have their prom and they do the lockdown, they lock the doors so that the kids are mingled during the evening. This might be a lockdown, and you heard Ellen, no one can leave until we have raised the $750,000 that we need. Mitch, we'll start with you, excusing the loan. Okay, in being serious, I really deeply, deeply appreciate this honor from NCJW. You know, the recent death of Ray Hartman brought comments from people on Facebook and other places saying, I hope he knew how much he was appreciated. And I want you to know that I appreciate being recognized while I'm alive. The truth is, I love everything that I have been engaged in, both work and volunteer. I've been nurtured and loved and blessed with good luck and with positive influences in my life. I grew up in Omaha with 3 younger brothers and a large extended family. When I've been asked where I learned leadership skills, that was it. Watching out for Mike, Larry, and Howard was the start of it all. In fact, we started our own little musical ensemble in the basement with me on the piano, Mike on the trombone, Larry on trumpet, and my little brother Howard on makeshift drums of pots and pans. My mother was ecstatic because she saw that her music lessons were paying off. But seriously, I observed both of my parents, especially my dad, engaged in synagogue, B'nai B'rith, Anti-Defamation League, and country club organizational work. And my mom not only involved in PTA, but Cancer to Recovery, Synagogue Sisterhood, and Hadassah's Israel Tree program. My many aunts and uncles were heavily engaged as well. In fact, Passover Seder conversation always moved from Moses crossing the Red Sea to who hadn't paid their synagogue dues for the year. For me, organizational work has been a part of my life growing up and in college. From Brownies and Girl Scouts, where I was the top cookie sales, only because the Girl Scout cookies were kosher. I could sell them at the synagogue, where I helped start a new B'nai B'rith youth group for girls. At the University of Wisconsin, I had the fun of planning homecoming and a national symposium speaker series. The best job was being treasurer of AE Phi sorority. Imagine trying to tell Marvin Baskin of Baskin Robbins and Harold Block of H&R Block that they had not paid their daughter's sorority dues for the semester. It's made a $5.4 million capital campaign a breeze. I moved to St. Louis in 1969 for my first teaching job with the St. Louis Public Schools at Beaumont High School at the very high salary of $7,820 a year. I agree. My first challenge was finding Beaumont, as I learned that in St. Louis, many streets changed their name in the middle of the street, such as Skinker to McCausland or Easton to Page. And my first month of teaching, a student was shot and killed in front of me. Sobering. But at the same time, there are the rewards of teaching, like when Vernon Betts, the former St. Louis City Sheriff, stopped the long line for jury duty in the courthouse to announce to everyone that his favorite high school teacher was in the building. It did not get me out of jury duty. But what I really had learned from my job search was that there were few opportunities for women. And in the school districts that paid higher salaries, a history teacher had to also be either the boys' basketball or the varsity football coach. I ended up coaching a winning girls' volleyball team at Beaumont for no extra pay. As my career moved on in the school district, I gained so much valuable experience. I loved my job, I loved my staff, and one of my coworkers is here tonight. And I was so proud of the work we did, hence the certificate from Ellen, both locally and nationally. I know that we contributed to the trajectory of the lives of thousands of young people, city and county. The rare privilege I had of starting 2 high schools, and Ellen named them both, was just icing on the cake. So many times I was the only woman at the district leadership table, and I learned when to speak up and when to sit and listen. There were men who recognized that women needed to move forward, and they made sure I was nominated for Women in Leadership and for Leadership St. Louis. Then there is my volunteer world. I have been involved with several local and national organizations, and a couple warrant special acknowledgement. The work of the St. Louis Community Credit Union, and our CEO and many of our board members are here tonight, has been life-changing for so many people, especially in the low to moderate income community. We do more than just bank and loan money. We are a provider of much more to enrich our members' lives. I am proud to have been a board chair and a board member for 43 years. That spilled over into Prosperity Connection, which was started as an offshoot of the credit union to provide the financial literacy and alternatives to payday lending. I was proud to be their board chair for the first 10 years, helping to shape the organization's direction. And that brings me to NCJW. NCJW and the resale shop hold a special place in my heart. I was an NCJW inactive member when the past president called me in 1998, asking me to co-chair a committee about the resale shop. The shop had to move out of its home on Page and Lindbergh, and the challenge was to move or to close the shop and stop the couturier sale. Needless to say, we moved the shop, and the shop stayed open. Since that day, I have been wedded to our shop. its staff, and our growing success. It brought me into NCJW, some of my closest friends, and brought me leadership opportunities which I have treasured. I have truly valued my experience that I've been a part of. I cherish my friendships in the jewelry crew, my special time working with Lisa Gubernick, our next president, and our Coffee Talk program, which began during COVID and continues to thrive each month. I am grateful for Ellen, as well as all our past and current staff and the past presidents who mentored me, and I'm incredibly proud to be associated with such a well-run, professional, and deeply caring organization. We stand out in St. Louis as a highly capable organization, fiscally responsible, creative, responsive, and a repository for talented women. For me, my volunteer world has intersected seamlessly with my paid work. I love making connections, as Ellen already said, and making sure that people meet each other or get engaged in a program. If I meet you, you can expect that I will probably be calling for you to be a classroom or program speaker, a judge for internship presentations, or to talk about your college or your career experience, or donate to the resale shop, or be on Coffee Talk. In case you have not noticed, both worlds for me have focused on equity and support for all people, but especially for young people who are trying to identify and follow their dreams, and for women who have many, many more doors open wider for them now than what I had. I had the honor several years ago of presenting this award to Maxine Clark. I quoted from a book written about Hannah G. Solomon, for whom this award is named, called The Future of My Life. The introduction reads, 80 years ago, when women's involvement in activities other than her home and family were totally unacceptable, Hannah Solomon staunchly believed that it was the responsibility of women to correct social injustice and combat the lack of humanism. In 1893, Hannah Solomon was asked to plan a Jewish Women's Congress to meet in Chicago for the World's Fair. When the women arrived, thinking they were there for high-level meetings and talks, they found instead they were there to serve coffee to the men. Hannah escorted them out of the room and out of Chicago. This award in her honor that recognizes helping to improve the lives of women, children, and families, and providing motivational leadership means so much. On a personal note, I deeply appreciate my family and significant other who are spread out all over the United States and are with me in spirit. My adopted families who have taken me under their wing over the years, the Shapiros, the Ackermans and Alexes, the Thompsons, my Einstein's Coffee Group, my shop jewelry crew of Carolyn, Hillary, and Phyllis, my favorite hairstylist, and our first place trivia table, sorry, Jen, and those who nominated me for this award. Since retiring, I have been engaged in national consulting around high school reform, and one of the best parts has been working with the Omaha schools for the past 10 years. I appreciate the work we have done there and everyone who has supported me, and I thank Toba for taking the trip here today from Omaha. Finally, there are two quotes that are very important to me. The first from Barack Obama. We are reminded that in the fleeting time we have on this earth, what matters is not wealth, or status, or power, or fame, but rather how well we have loved, with what small part we have played, and the small part we have played in making the lives of other people better. And from Mother Teresa, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water and see many ripples. In this crazy world in which we are finding ourselves these days, we can sit complacently and do nothing, or we can find our own small ways to help those who would benefit from our hearts, from our attention, from our nurturing, from our resources. Please find a way to share your love and cast your stones to create those ripples. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, staff, present and past. Thank you, Board of Directors. And thank you to our chairs of this lovely event. And thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you. We can unlock the doors now.
Congratulations, Susan. Once again, congratulations to all of our honorees. We'd like all the honorees to stay in the sanctuary for a few minutes for a group photo, please.
Finally, Rosalie and I would like to give a huge thank you to Sherry Hodgins, membership manager, and the entire NCJW St. Louis staff for all their hard work in helping make this event so wonderful. Thank you to our awesome committee. And as you head out, please take a bundle of note cards for your use to celebrate the women in your lives. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.